on the run.
Hello, sir.
Forgot the mic.
Kind of important part of the show.
Good morning. Welcome back. It's Monday morning. And as you can tell, I'm not in my garage anymore. My wife said I had to get out of the garage. So I live in Texas.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Maybe listen to her.
I insulated the garage, and it was 80 degrees, which is, like, oh, geez, that's hot. No, it's not that hot. I'm used to the temperature being like 90, 100.
Okay, so are you? We had this discussion over the weekend. Are you a hot weather person or a cold weather person? Does your internal temperature run hotter or colder than the normal person?
People make fun of me for wearing hoodies in the summer.
Okay, that's me and you. So we enjoy. That's what I was telling is.
You just don't like to be cold.
Like, oh, it's so hot, blah blah blah. And I'm like, look, me and my dad are some of the few people that really, really, really enjoy the 95 plus degree weather as long as it's not real humid and oppressive. Yeah. I like the heat. I don't like being cold all the damn time.
Yeah, no. When I get cold, I shiver all the way to my bones, and I can't warm up. I can't get warm up when I'm cold. But you know what I can do? I can stick my face right in front of an air conditioner.
I have carried one of these things with me for 20 years. People have made fun of me. Every single person has said the same thing to me. Right. Why do you carry a hairdryer? You're bald. This is not a hairdryer to me. It's marketed to you as a hairdryer, but to me, it's not a hairdryer. It is a personal heating device.
For sure.
I use to heat myself wherever I go.
So many times we've done the show and you have that hanging down your back.
Oh, just put it down your back. Yes.
Let me see. Is this going to work?
From the TikTok shop.
Am I allowed to? Once again, Facebook, I don't understand. I'm not allowed to change you guys can't watch on Facebook until after it's over, which is weird. I say you guys. It's like one person. It might be my mom. I don't know. So anyway, I'm not in my garage anymore. The reason being not the temperature, although, it's a little warm, but like I'm okay with it being warm. It's the temperature and the humidity. The temperature and the humidity is causing my skin to like burst into red everywhere.
So let me tell you. Let me tell you. I am an expert on heat rash. I have gotten heat rash down my back since I am 48 years old.
Right.
I'm fixing to be, I'm 48.
Yeah.
And I have gotten a heat rash on my back since I was 13 years old, I bet. For 35 years, I have dealt with heat rash. For the past 2 years, I really haven't gotten it as bad. I've kind of gotten some now because I was bitching about it the other day and because I'm scratching my back on corners of, like a bear.
Yeah.
Powder. I don't like powder. But
I don't want to be gross about it, but
I know, but I have to use a little powder.
I've gotten a medication to treat whatever's happening, and my wife is sending me to the dermatologist on Wednesday.
I'm telling you, heat rash. I get it every single year.
Well,
from the humid heat every year in the summer, it's like miserable. I just told Ashley like 3 days ago because I was mowing the yard and doing some stuff outside, and I was coming in. I was scratching my back I was like, damn it! I was like, I'm getting some heat rash again this year on my back. I can already feel it. And I was rubbing my hands, and you can feel it on your back. So I'm going to get some little powder and put on it.
So we're not talking about mathematical issues, but we are. What I'm explaining is that I'm not in the garage anymore, which means I'm not plugged directly into the 2 gigabyte uplink. So we have a precarious situation. I am plugged directly into the other internet that I have here, but that one's the one that's been flaky, and so flaky that it wouldn't even load this thing so that I could do the show at all. So I had to disconnect from this other thing over here. And we are now plugged in to my backup cell phone, my old cell phone via USB, which is tethered to the Wi-Fi downstairs. So like, do you know how like if you move a phone around while it's on USB, it'll go like Windows will be like, oh, I forgot what that was. and it'll unplug it and it'll replay it. So if I touch this thing, the whole show falls apart for now. But
Gotcha.
I'm harassing Netgear and I'm like, yo, Netgear, you need to send me another box because this one's no good. So we'll see if that happens. And then if that happens, we'll be like plugged in and hard line at least to 1 gig. So anyway, so I'm currently in my media room. We call it the media room. It's really the floor of toys that my as soon as we get this clean, the kids will like bring in stuff and they'll make forts in here or
Look, I would just
they'll
like to
play.
point out to the people watching real quick though, if you move out of the way, there's
Oh,
some cool shit back there. Look at that cool shit.
yeah. Hey, cool shit. I have Mjolnir and Thor's helmet here.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
see Thor's helmet or Mjolnir up there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Sweet.
All right. Oops, I'm in my pajamas. All right. So yeah, I got some stuff in here. I got a whole these are you can't see past the chair, but that box and there's a bunch of comic books in there that my wife is like, you need to move those and put those somewhere else. I'm like, well,
Okay. Why don't you move them flat on the wall so that when you look
yeah,
at the wall,
I have actually did that before, but when we were married, like for like 3 years, I was like, this room's mine, and I put comic books all along all the wall, and I thought it was awesome.
hang on, I'll be
My
right back.
wife didn't think it was awesome, but she tolerates my silliness. All right. I've also got stuff from my desk in boxes just out of view. So anyway, this is all like temporary, and it'll get like a little bit better, I think, but maybe not today. Let's see. Do we have any interesting news going on? I saw this morning that Iran, some
Okay.
bozo in Iran had issued a fatwa against Donald Trump. I saw that this morning. And I also saw that CNN was completely broadcasting complete propaganda about Iran. CNN ran this story. So I guess we'll do like 1-2 here. So a top Iran cleric declares Trump and Netanyahu enemies of God in a new fatwa. To which we were like, yeah, okay, all right. You guys are mad. You got your stuff blown up. I'm sorry about that. I look, personally, didn't want to be involved, but you guys kept making a nuke. So the guys around here decided that you're not making a nuke. And, you know,
Personally, we don't think our country should be involved, but JJ and I do not run our country. And for the past years,
I'm not in charge.
For the past two administrations, which really is one administration, but Obama gave how much?
Like
Obama
16. He freed up $16 billion.
No, Biden freed up $16 billion, but
Oh,
Obama
right.
had given like almost $2 billion.
Yeah, that's true.
Ukraine.
That's true.
So I
That's
mean,
true.
it one. If you really break it down to all of the parts, and it's monotonous and it'll hurt your brain and it'll bore the tears out of you, but it really is us.
Well,
we are the problem.
Yeah. We were like, here's some money, go and make some nuke stuff. And then some other parts of us were like, you see these guys over here trying to make nukes? Why don't we do something about that? It's not funny. It's not cool.
Just Iran either. It's not just Iran.
Yeah. But pro tip for the rest of the world. If some people from the United States are like, here's some money, you guys can like do whatever you want with it. Just don't make nukes, wink, wink. If you take that money and then go to make nukes, and it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
We're not making nukes.
Yeah, don't do that.
Shit.
All right, like everybody should have nukes. Sure, or not. I mean,
no,
fine.
Everyone should not have. No one should have that. If we could go back in time and erase one thing from people's minds, that would be it. The knowledge of how to split an atom.
You think so?
Take us back to the freaking wild, wild west or something like that.
If we hadn't ended World War II with a nuclear bomb, what would have happened? It would have gone on for months and months and months more, and a lot more people would have died, and we would not have had a decisive victory, probably, right?
Do you think? No,
I'm not.
There's a million different. There's a million different things that could have happened, but that's all speculation. Different timelines, JJ.
However,
other
No,
time,
hold on. No, I'm gonna keep going down this road for just a second though. A lot more people would have died for sure.
I don't think a
It
lot.
would have gone on longer, but we wouldn't have had the Cold War.
You wouldn't have all those people that died in Japan, and it was already de-escalating. That had nothing to do with the Nazis and whatnot in the
Yeah,
Europe
Nazi stuff was
theater.
already dealt with. We'd already
So
dealt with.
so I don't know if a lot more people would have died.
Well, the Japanese imperial military or whatever, they were like fight to the death. It wasn't until they witnessed like Hiroshima, like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. They're all gone. What do you mean they're all gone? What do you mean? What do you mean it's all gone?
Yeah.
So they were like, this fight to the death thing's not working for us. So that happened, but
Yeah, those divine wind pilots were riveted into the kamikaze pilots were riveted into their
they were bolted in.
Yeah.
So no good. Now, okay, so maybe the Japanese part of the World War II would have gone longer, but if we had no nuclear weapons, I think you could make an argument that we would have had no Cold War because we wouldn't have had two opposing nuclear armed forces vying for hegemonic control of the world. But you would have had a lot more skirmishes, low level combat all over the place for decades. So,
oh yeah, and completely different. I mean, that's you could open up literally an infinite number of different possibilities of what would have happened if we never would have split the atom.
But that's not what happened. What happened is that we blew stuff up and we created super bombs. And now, if you try to get a super bomb, we're not going to let you because I don't know, for all kinds of reasons. We don't want to have super bombs aimed at us. We want to be in control. I mean, like there's all kinds of reasons. Some of them are not good. Some of them are good. I think you could say that, right? Anyway, so Fatwa declares Trump and Netanyahu enemies of God because they are all upset. But also, CNN, I saw this on X. Let me pull this up on X. I want to show you this. I want to see what you think about X. Now, I saw it because it was posted on my OS Intel group. I have an open source Intel like channel or whatever. But it was reposted by Mark Levin as well. Let me find it. And apparently CNN has a reporter in Tehran. Here it is. How do I share? Forget how to do stuff.
Did you see where they were saying that the top Democrat officials were not told about this bombing in Iran at all? And that's why it went off without a hitch and there were no leaks at all? They did not tell any of the top Democrats about this operation.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but loose lips sink ships, and the Democratic Party is made entirely of loose lips.
Do you know what this operation was called? I pointed this out to Ashley. I don't know if everybody's been paying.
Like Midnight Hammer. What are they called? Midnight Hammer.
You know what that's from?
No, I don't know what that's from.
Dude, Nancy Pelosi's husband's Midnight Hammer guy.
That's a coincidence.
Come on.
A wild coincidence.
There are no coincidences in this world, JJ. That's the first rule. You need to underline that.
No, you name an operation so that it sounds cool in the history books.
Just cool, two cool words. Midnight Hammer.
All right. So here's some propaganda. I think it's propaganda. Here is let me pull this. Oh.
Talk again. I got a busy week here with commercials. I got some break.
Okay.
I got 4 breaks an hour.
All right, here.
Martyrdom is a hugely important concept here in the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're currently at an event where hundreds of women hold their babies into the air to show that they're willing to offer their children as martyrs for God and for Imam Hussein. All of that goes back to the legendary Battle of Karbala, where Imam Hussein held his baby into the air, asking the enemy that was besieging Karbala to give the baby water, and instead the enemy killed the baby.
Okay. So CNN has a dude in the room there. You can see there's a bunch of women holding their babies up or whatever. Bunch of Muslim women holding their babies up. And CNN is saying that this is Deke, are you still there? Are we still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
CNN is saying that all of these women are holding their babies up saying, I offer my baby for martyr, for victory, for Iran and or whatever. Our country is so important to me. Take my baby and martyr my baby, and we'll win. And that is complete horse shit from CNN. CNN just wants you to be like, Iran wants to kill us. Iran wants to kill us. More money for bombs. More action. More action. More action. That is CNN is proliferating this propaganda in order to infuse the deep state with more political will for action against Iran and other enemies, so that more weapons can be sold, more action can be taken, more.
So what is actually going on there?
What is actually going on is that these people these women, they are at an event, and that event is celebrating this little child that was killed like 500 years ago. And it's a cultural and religious event, but it's not they're not saying martyr my kids. They're saying they're like this baby.
So what has happened
honoring
here?
This baby.
As a 30-plus year media veteran, what has happened here is they took the event, they took the message from the event. The message was in the Quran or whatever, there is a guy who held and sacrificed and martyred his baby and held him up and blah, 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 blah. And here's how the story, the facts were presented. This is what the event is about. This is the story from the Quran that they're celebrating. All these women come here to this event, and they will hold their babies up as a symbolic gesture of what he did, as a religious thing. So CNN took it and just took all those words and moved them around.
Yeah.
We kept all the same words. This is my job, man. My job for 30 years in morning radio. I was told a long time ago, I said, I've got a funny joke, but it's dirty. And my program director said, if you can convince them to think the dirty part without you saying it, then you have done your job. You didn't say the dirty part, but you've conveyed the joke. You conveyed the dirty part by rewording it. And that is exactly what CNN is doing here.
On screen, you see a reporter right here. There is a CNN reporter that is in the room in Tehran with these women, and he's saying, "Oh, they're going to sacrifice. They're going to sacrifice." Hold on, let me say this. What's actually happening is a commemoration of Ali al-Ashqar, an infant that died in 680 AD, and participants are expressing devotion, not sacrifice, as a mother told CNN, describing it as saluting this Imam Hussein. Some experts say this propaganda. So that CNN's just lying in the room. They're just lying.
So let's think about this logically. Who does CNN who is their main audience in 2025? I mean, for real. I would say the elderly, people that are 70 and older. Okay? I'm not even going with the 60s, because those 60 people are not too much older than us. And they're the hippie people. They were the 60s free love people are in their late 60s now, right? So I'm not even going with the 60s people. We're going to say 70 and above. If they watch CNN, they believe CNN because they grew up with Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, where they trust the news. And our generation does not trust the news. We've grown up our entire lives knowing that the news lies to us. We were the first generation to come out and say they are full of crap. And then our kids have heard us preach to it. And then they're like, yeah, man, this is full of crap. And then their kids now, this generation that's coming up, is hearing, your girls don't now, but here in 5 and 6 years, they're going to be listening to, they are listening to everything you say. You've realized that as a parent real quick. They listen to everything you say, but they will start listening to the way that you talk about politics. And
Yeah.
Alex has gotten into some interesting. He'll come home and say, "I got into an interesting conversation with my history teacher today, or my political science teacher today," and blah 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 blah. Because most of these teachers are left wing, and most of these kids are just dumb little kids that just fill out the paper and pass a note to Sandy, whatever they're doing. They're not paying attention. Sure. But Alex is like, wait a minute, though. The first 13th Amendment said that blah, 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 and you could keep the slaves, and they just wanted the money. And then the teachers are like, so there's some, I don't know where I was going with that.
We're being lied to.
Yeah, we're being lied
now
to.
For reasons that are
always. You've been lied to for 200 years. You've been lied to for
yeah. Okay, fine. There's lies, and there's like outright like this is deception. There's lies that like I don't want to get in trouble, and there's lies that like I want to trick your mind into believing something so that you'll let me have extra power. And that's what we're talking about.
And those types of lies have been told to you for a long time. It's just very proliferant. Yes, that word.
Prolific
in the past.
Prophylactic.
Prophylactic. Sometimes I use big words.
Hey, good news for you.
Yeah.
Donald Trump says that there's a secret mystery buyer that's going to buy TikTok and save it for you. I'm going to save TikTok for you, sir. I know you love the TikTok. You excited?
No, because TikTok, everybody threw their little fit and everybody bought this little China's spying on you bullshit
China is spying on you.
They told China's spying on you, but it's through Facebook and Instagram and all the other ones a lot more than it is TikTok. But we'll just go with TikTok is owned by China to avoid an argument.
That isn't the reason. That's not the reason. It's not the spying.
Look, I'm just going to say this and we're not going to argue about it again.
All right.
You weren't on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. And I argue that TikTok was a place to get information really quickly from real people. And they did not like a lot of the information because I would save videos and then they would disappear in my favorites. And I'd go back through and that video had been taken down. 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 I could go through and show you now. I've got probably hundreds and hundreds of them that have been taken down. And there are these videos of, hey man, I'm here at freaking North Carolina at the freaking, this is 30, minutes after the storms come through and this 2 days here in North Carolina, and it's those videos showing you what was going on. It's that's one example, but it's that type of stuff. And then after the TikTok little shutdown and it came back, Ashley brought it up to me. I had already noticed it, and then I saw other people on TikTok saying the same thing. Their algorithms had changed. Everything had changed. They wasn't getting the same stuff, and they wasn't getting the same types of. Now I don't get the same types of videos in my For You page on TikTok now that I used to. It follows my algorithm a lot more than it did. A lot more than it did. If I click a heart on a freaking funny dog video, I'm gonna have 17 freaking dog videos after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got lots of that stuff.
But it didn't used to be that way. I think they were like, China's got control of this and we need to get it. So
they had
finish
before.
Let me finish. I'll forget this thought. Okay. Right. China's got control of this and we need to get control of it and blah, blah, blah. So, it's going to get shut down. And when it got shut down, they made their changes that they wanted to do to get control of it. And now they've got what they want. And we have the illusion that it was saved. And so we don't question anything because we think TikTok was saved. Or TikTok
let me offer an alternative explanation for what you're experiencing.
Okay.
What you had before was a Wild West, dumb, ungoverned TikTok, so that anything could hold on.
Not really.
So that anything could be in your feed, and you got wild, random stuff that was some of it was provocative and interesting. And TikTok needs to make money. And the way to make money across all these platforms is to capture audience interest, which means if somebody likes something, show them more of that so that they spend more time on the platform. And it sounds like the algorithm that you have now, if you like something, shows you more of the thing you like.
That's one answer, but my answer is also a feasible answer. No matter how ludicrous you want to think it is,
Well, then
my
what are
answer
you
is also a feasible
what are
answer.
you being trained on? What are you being trained on with this new data? With these new videos, new algorithm, what are they changing in you? What are they trying to change in you? Are they trying to change your political opinion, your financial opinion, your
I
some
have seen a
popular
lot
opinions?
more. I have seen a lot more leftist stuff and stuff hating Trump because I have to go and say not interested, not interested, not
Yeah.
interested. I have done that a dozen times.
Yeah.
I never had to do it before because I didn't know how. I just clicked my little settings and it said not interested. I was like, well, that's got to be the button because I didn't know what it was. And I mean, nothing that I don't pay attention to stuff like that. I just have noticed that things have changed. Me and Ashley, I didn't even. She brought it up first. You know, she was like,
Yeah.
"Is it different for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I noticed it. It is kind of different."
Well, I mean, I definitely can't speak intelligently of the actual experience, but I mean, I can.
I don't want to talk about this. I
Okay.
don't.
Well, I was just
We're
saying,
never
we're
going to.
not gonna get. It's
This
not gonna
at
get
a
shut
point
off
in
because
time.
China's gonna let it be sold to these super rich mystery
I was
people
just
because Trump.
mentioning this. We got on this topic because I mentioned it as an ancillary example of
I just
something.
wanted you. I
About.
was telling you it's good news for you. No, you're not losing TikTok. It's just
I
gonna
don't.
be not
TikTok
good.
doesn't mean anything about me. I'm just trying to defend what I think is freaking right. I don't think people should control every single thing that you freaking do. I don't care. I mean, I don't care.
Okay.
They shouldn't control every single choice that you have to freaking make, whether
Yeah.
you agree with it or not.
I don't.
You
I don't.
The
I don't
government
care about
shouldn't have
TikTok.
control over what fucking videos that I get to watch. Just because you don't like what this guy has to say
I don't.
shouldn't be grounds for his video to get removed and I can't watch it. That is the most un-American thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I don't. I don't care about TikTok. I don't care if it gets banned or not.
Right.
So I
But
mean, like,
do you care that a platform where people can speak freely is getting controlled by the government and these people that are wanting to say stuff is getting silenced? Do you care about that? Let's say it's called the coffee cup and
yeah.
you know, I would completely care if we started a social media thing that was like you can speak freely and say whatever you want, and then half of our freaking million
Can I
freaking
say if
people
it
were
was an
like,
if it was an
"Oh,
American company, I would be like, you can't do that. But
see,
this,
here's where the brainwashing gets all because we've heard the lying media. We're circling back around to the top here. The
yeah,
lying media tell us over and over and over again that TikTok's owned by China, and it's not. But we keep repeating that. Oh shit! Hang on.
I'm trying to find out what percentage. I mean, like in most companies, uh, you know, especially publicly traded companies, but even privately traded companies, um, the company's own percentages is owned by different people. In a publicly traded company, a percentage of it, or a large percentage, or even the whole company, may be owned by stockholders. But in a privately shared company, the percentage of ownership could be is owned by investors, right? And different investors. So, what percentage of TikTok is owned by America? Now we know that something like 20% of 20% of TikTok is owned by China, but what percent is owned by the US, or are there other investors, other owners elsewhere? And also, I guess maybe if it was a private company.
There's a lot of
I don't
private,
know. I don't really know. I don't know.
but private company, okay, private company
Yeah.
who was founded by this guy, whose CEOs are this guy, who's the brother-in-law of this senator,
Yeah.
who's the nephew of
Yeah.
this congressman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if people don't look into that stuff, if
So,
you that
all right.
that one little girl in her high school whatever science fair that had traced every one of the presidents
Yeah.
back to one single
That's
ancestor
true. Even like George
except
Bush
for
and
one.
Yeah.
except for one, Donald Trump.
Yeah, because he wasn't supposed to be there. He's not
'Cause he
supposed to
wasn't
be the
supposed to be
president. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna ban TikTok is the big ask. It's a major negotiation leverage, and it's just to get them to change policies and do things differently.
There is
That's not the objective.
there is a new Y-Files. If you haven't watched it, I was cleaning over the weekend and I was listening to it, and
Okay.
it's about I don't remember what it's called, but it's about cosmonauts and the gate program and time traveling and stuff like that. And
Okay.
these cosmonauts were these children that actually traveled to, forward and backwards in time that the CIA had and whatnot. And
Right.
two of the ex cosmonauts said that one of the other boys that they knew in there was this boy named Barry Cerrito.
I was about halfway through. That's Project Pegasus.
Yeah. JJ missed that, what I said. Let me say that again so that you listen to me this time. Two of the the cosmonauts, time traveling kids, as they got older, they said one of the other kids that was in the program was this boy named Barry Cerrito. Barack Obama.
Barry Cerrito is his name. What's Cerrito mean?
That's his name. His name's not Barack Obama, dude. That's like Larry the Cable Guy. Did you not know that?
Barry Cerrito? I don't know. How do you spell Cerrito?
Sorobeto? I don't know.
I mean, when I type Barry Cerrito, Bing, whatever, search engine comes back with Barack Obama, 44th president of the U.S.
That's because that's who that is.
He attended college in the U.S. as a. That's a rumor. His name is really.
You're paying attention to Bing. We started the show talking about lying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what search engine do you use? You can tell me DuckDuckGo.
I use Google, but I don't take everything that it says as the
gospel. Well, I definitely don't trust Google.
Well, I definitely don't trust Bing.
Fine, it's okay. All right.
Oh, it's a rumor. Okay.
Barry Cerrito.
That's not even a rumor. That's like true. That's not even a rumor. I thought that was common knowledge.
I'm gonna need like and not Bing. I'm gonna need like,
this is one that I don't care about this argument because I know for a fact you're wrong, and I just want you to go and keep looking it up so that you prove that yes, it's that.
Like Snoop said it's not true.
Live on the show,
I only want like a documented evidence of some kind of like a credible source.
Papers or something.
That's all I'm saying. It's credible source.
Look up his college papers. He wasn't Barack Obama. His name was Barry Cerrito. I thought this was common knowledge.
No, it's not common knowledge.
Dude's been he was president for 16 years. You didn't know his real name?
I don't. It's definitely not common knowledge.
I'm sorry. I assumed that was common knowledge.
Barry Cerrito. I honestly, like any credible source. You know what? I'm gonna go as neutral as I can. Credible source. Searching right now.
Are you on acrediblesource.com?
No, I'm on Grok. I'm telling Grok, go work for me.
Chat GPT. Who is Barry Cerrito? Thought for 5 seconds. You might be referring to Barry Cerrito. I misspelled it. Which was the name of Barack Obama used while living in Indonesia with his mother and stepfather, and sometimes what conservative conspiracy theories distorted his name to. Well, there's no well-known public figure as Barry Cerrito. A child in Jakarta, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so it's his mother's name. Oh, no. His mother married Lolo Soetoro. So it's his dad's name, but he carries his mother's name. Who cares about Barack Obama? I don't care about Barack Obama. Okay, so it's a family name. Like, my name's not Wagner, but my family's name is Wagner. No, I don't care. Oh wow, the amount of I don't care about this is pretty big.
Why it looks to me like I would have learned my fucking lesson by now.
What do you mean? Like,
Why
okay, so
bring up
yeah,
this type of questions to you. I
but
don't,
it's not like a secret
my
mystery
mouth is
identity. It's
going,
just another
and
name.
I just need to stop it, you know, because I know it's just going to. Jesus himself could knock on your door, and you open it, and he would be like, "My name is Jesus," and you'd be like, "I'm going to need some ID." You're going to have to hang on. Cassie, bring me a glass of water.
Doubting JJ, that's me.
That's a thought experiment that I've had sometimes that I tell people, though, that I truly believe this. Jesus could come back right now, and people would not believe that it's him. He could do every miracle that you know about in front of you, and you would not believe it's him.
You'd have no idea. You would not be able to know unless, you know.
And that's what faith is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have faith that Barack Obama's name is Barry Sorry to Burrito. All right.
Okay, look, I'm going to grant you. He has a family name of Satoru or whatever it is.
So, if his mother gave birth to him in Hawaii, and they went, it's not uncommon for that child to have the mother's birth name instead of the father's surname.
Yeah,
to have the mother's surname.
That's not unusual.
Yeah, that's not unusual. And you know, my name is not Andy. That's my nickname.
Right.
No. I did have an uncle who was named Barry. That was his name, Barry. But Barry is Barry a nickname for anything? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Bartholomew?
No, I don't know.
Oh, wait, Bart. No, that's Bart. Bartholomew is Bart.
I've never really thought about that before, if Barry is a nickname for anything. But, you know, some people get nicknames free. One of the guys that I played this morning on my cover, have you ever heard of the blues artist named Keb Mo, Kebmo? Keb Mo. His name is Kevin Moore, and he grew up in the South, in Louisiana and Texas. So his name was Kevin Moore. You know, as a kid, his kids were like, "Hey, here come Keb Mo. Who is that? That Keb Mo. Keb Mo.
Maybe, but he was doing blues, right? So if he was trying to fit in with like Motown and
but logically, if he grew up in Louisiana with a Cajun accent, you know, Keb Mo. So you know, we love names like that. My name's not Andy; it's Andrew. So I don't know. What else you got?
I don't really have that much. I just thought that was look, nothing's blowing up right now.
I had some really cool, interesting stories Dave had posted. Some of them were really interesting.
Looks like Sean Diddy Combs' jury is going to begin deliberating. What are the odds that he comes back totally innocent and vindicated?
Very slim.
Prosecutors presented 34 witnesses and showed surveillance videos from him violently beating and one accuser named Cassie in a hallway, which we saw that video here. I think he'll. And then there's like the whole baby oil thing, but maybe the jury doesn't know about the baby oil stuff. No, and the weird fetish parties and the.
No, they do.
Sex trafficking and racketeering. I'm
trying to find which one of these stories you would find interesting.
It's been apparently we have an alligator Alcatraz. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Trump is scheduled to visit a newly constructed migrant detention facility known as Alligator Alcatraz in the Florida Everglades on Tuesday.
I heard this. Yes. Have you ever been to the Florida Everglades?
Dude, I drove through Florida once and I was like, please, I don't want a flat tire. The last thing I want is a flat tire.
So I'm going to tell you a story. In December, late December 1999, me and my two friends, one's name was Brandon and one's name was Swami. And we got into Swami's Jeep and it was covered in fish and Grateful Dead stickers. We loaded it up and we headed to Florida. And we were going to the Florida Everglades to the Seminole Indian Reservation, where Fish was putting on a 2-day celebration to bring in the millennium. And my ticket number was 82,000. If you look it up, if you ask Grok right now, what was the attendance of Big Cypress Fish, and it will say 85,000 or 75,000. My ticket number was 82,000 something. There were over 150,000 people down there camping for like 2 or 3 days for this show in the middle of a Seminole Indian reservation. When we hit Florida, for those of you who don't know, Florida, when it comes down, it has let's say this is Florida, it has a long road on this side and a long road on this side. It goes down each side of Florida, long interstates, and they have one road way down at the bottom that connects them, and it's called Alligator Alley. It's a straight road that goes across the Everglades, and they call it Alligator Alley. Yeah, look up Alligator Alley. And so before we got to Alligator Alley, we were stuck in traffic. We were stuck in traffic like 12 or 13 hours. And when I mean stuck in traffic, I mean we had the car off, and when the cars in front of us would move, Swam would put it in neutral. Me and Brandon would get out. We would push the Jeep up 3 or 4 feet. He'd put it in park. We'd get back in and wait for them to move up a car's length. We didn't want to burn the gas.
Right. Environmentally conscious and poor.
We were just seriously, we were stuck with, cars were everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's no GPS and any of this crap back then. But when we finally got into Alligator Alley and go across that line, and then we had to kind of go up into the Seminole Indian Reservation, we didn't want to get out and pee because we were like looking, and you could see little alligators in the freaking ditches and stuff. I'm talking like little ones, like, as big as like 2 feet.
Yeah, where there's little alligators. Yeah. There's big alligators.
Yeah. You could literally see them. And I had never seen anything like that before. I'm just a country boy from Kentucky, and to look off and see a wild alligator in a freaking, I'm like, oh my God, dude, what the crap?
It's funny how people from different regions will have different things that they're concerned about. Where I'm at, like, oh, there's tornadoes or hurricanes. And I'm like, okay, just be careful and, whatever. But somebody's like, oh, we're going to drive through here where all these alligators are. And we're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that.
I remember, I'll say this too. I don't know if Ricochet's watching, or if we'll hear this, but 150,000 hippie kid fish heads, right? Yeah. In the middle of the Seminole Indian Reservation, in the middle of the Everglades. Yeah. When we left, Rolling Stone had an article. It was a thing from the Seminole Indian Reservation to fish fans. Okay. And they were like, thank you. You are always welcome on our land. Our land was cleaner when you left than when it was when you arrived.
Nice.
I thought that was awesome. But Fish did something cool during that. I remember they were having this contest for all the campers, that for every bag of trash you brought, like in the middle, they had like 4 or 5 little cities set up, so you would have your little camping area and these little roads and stuff. But if you follow the road, it goes to this little city where a bunch of vendors and all this stuff is set up, and face painters and boob painters and stuff like that. But if you brought in a bag of trash, you got entered into a drawing for like 5 backstage passes for 5 concerts. It was a pretty nice, like, we're giving you tickets to like the next 4 shows of your choice for next year, and backstage passes. Awesome. And so for every bag of trash you brought up, they gave you energy one time. So you had freaking little hippie kids with bags. Hey man, can I get your trash? Can I get your trash? Trying to get entered and stuff. It was a really neat thing.
That's good. But they weren't doing it. They weren't doing it for the altruism of the environment. They were doing it for, okay, well, that's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Sometimes you got to prod. Sometimes you got to prod the sheep to get it to
Yeah,
follow.
you can harness good works out of greedy intent. It's okay.
It's okay.
All right. Well, what the hell's that sound?
Dave had some really cool stories in here last week that I was reading, but I'm looking at them now and I'm like, I don't think JJ would find that interesting. China breaks the RSA encryption for quantum computing. A fungus from Tutankhamun's tomb turns Pharaoh's curse into a cancer cure. They did it. Teleportation becomes scientific reality.
Really?
5,000-year-old manuscript with eerie message found in tomb. Some interesting stuff. They're all available on our Discord server.
They're all over there. Go get them over there.
Join our
5,000-year-old message.
That one was all right. The teleportation one was
eats boogers.
The teleportation one was very, very interesting. And the Tutankhamun's fungus one, I don't think I finished all the way through, but they're turning everything into cancer research and whatnot because it's big money, and that's how you make money, even though we've cured many types of cancer. They're not going to actively tell you that because that's not how they make money.
Hold on. I heard a funny story this weekend, and let me double check into it. There was, so I don't know the details of the story, but I think it goes something like this. There was a archaeologist team working on a site, right? And they were like digging or whatever, carbon dating stuff, whatever they were doing at some site. Yeah. And they determined that chickens were a very important part of a religious like ceremony. Very important part of chickens. Very important part of this religious. They found so much evidence of these chickens thousands and thousands of years ago at this archaeological site. And it had blown the minds of the people that were there. They were like, "This is crazy," because we didn't even know they had chickens in this area. And there's so much chicken evidence on this DNA of this stuff. Carbon dating doesn't make sense.
I know what you're talking about, and you kind of got it a little.
I got a little bit wrong.
You got it a little bit. You're exactly right, but it's me and Ashley were talking about not too long ago about how it's a myth that has perpetrated, and now people say that like it's a fact, where we say dinosaurs came from birds, and a chicken is basically a mini dinosaur.
Yeah.
And we have said that, and people will argue with you and whatnot. Well, the reason we say that is because we were doing this carbon dating on these bones and stuff and whatnot, and this DNA testing and whatnot on these bones, and it came back. Oh my God, these bones. Well, what they ended up finding like 40 years later or a long time later was that the only thing to eat for the archaeologists who were digging up those bones for months and months and months and months and months and months and months was fried chicken. The closest place was a fried chicken place, and that's the only fucking thing that they ate for months.
They wiped chicken DNA all over these bones.
And you see how, and I'm not saying that that all dinosaurs are not, because you can obviously look. I honestly believe that a T-Rex does. Those little arms to me look like they were wings. They look like they had some leathery parts and whatnot. It just makes sense to me. I'm sorry, it does.
Yeah,
it makes more sense for it to have wings like that than it does to have little arms. Yeah. Feathery wings are covered, and than it does to have little arms to me.
I don't know.
Even as a kid, the T-Rex was cool, but I always thought it was stupid because it was like,
right.
Like, why? Why what is this even for? It's not even for.
Yeah, but what would the wings be for? It's not flying anywhere. It's just going to be flapping.
Chickens and turkeys is what I say. Chickens and turkeys can fly, but they can't fly a long way. They
Right.
can fly to get out of danger, or to maybe to pursue prey or something like that. And that's what I always say. I don't think the T-Rex was soaring above the clouds, but it was, a turkey can fly a little bit, So that's kind of frightening to think
I
about.
think this is a great story to kind of keep the rule in mind, to never attribute to maliciousness what you can attribute to ineptitude.
Ineptitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dumbassery.
like, yeah, they're with 40 years.
But also, I mean, we use the word ineptitude, but that's even the wrong word to
Yeah, it's
use,
probably the
because
wrong word.
in 200 years they will say, well, they thought this, and that's what they knew back then, but we know this now. It's kind of like we do with stuff back from the 17 and 1800s. We're like, well, they thought this. They thought that it was magic, but we call it gunpowder, and
Yeah.
it was the scientific reaction of these, but they called it magic,
All right. Hey, we got to wrap up because I'm about to have a conference call, sir. So let's do jokes. Let's see if my robot's working. Burned 2,000 calories yesterday.
Yeah, doing what?
I was doing all this work, moving this desk up here, all of this stuff, taking apart the garage, putting all this stuff up here. I had to dismantle this, all of that. And while I was doing that, I left my food in the oven for too long. So burned 2,000.
Oh, that was pretty good. I didn't see that one coming. That was good. My neighbor here recently, we were talking. We was just out, and he was mowing the yard, and he was finishing up, and I was talking to him, and he said he was talking about his water bill, and we was complaining about the water bill, and he was talking about how he couldn't afford to pay his water bill this month. So Ashley and I felt bad. We sent him a get well soon card.
Yes! Politicians and talking heads lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your